For the past year or so, W5 has been tracking the progress of a little boy named Mykola, an innocent victim of the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. His suffering has been heartbreaking. But thanks to the efforts of Canadian doctors, rehab specialists, and volunteers, his recovery has been astounding. And no journalist has watched that transformation more closely than W5's Victor Malarek.
It's Sunday morning in East End, Montreal, and the congregation has gathered at a small Ukrainian Orthodox church. Most of the parishioners here are locals, but today there are a pair of special guests, a 12-year-old boy named Mykola Nishnakovsky and his mother, Alla. They've endured incredible suffering, but their time in Canada has done wonders to help the healing and restore their faith in the ways of the world. Mykola and Alla are from Volodarsky, a village in eastern Ukraine, about 50 kilometers from the front lines of an ongoing military conflict. Fighting first broke out between Ukrainian forces and Russian-backed separatists in February 2014. In all, more than 10,000 people have been killed, another 24,000 injured. It's October 2015. And a team of Canadian doctors, nurses, and rehabilitation specialists have come to Kiev to treat Ukrainians, mostly soldiers, wounded in the conflict. But today, they'll be treating a special patient, a child with wounds all over his body, Mykola.
When you see him, your heart just breaks.
Christina Waller is the Director of Humanitarian Initiatives for the Canada-Ukraine Foundation. She's the chief organizer for the Canadian Medical Mission.
When you meet him and you see how sweet he is and how helpless he seems and how scared he was, it was a moment I'll never forget.
It was August 24th, 2015, on the street just outside his family's home, when Mykola's life changed in an instant.
What happened to your son?
The place where we live, there was a training battleground. There was ammunition all over the place, and my son found a grenade near a pond.
I found this grenade and took it to show my friends. We put it in the middle of the road, and then the friend pushed me towards it. I stepped on it and it exploded.
My mother and I ran out to the street and saw pieces of flesh and skin and bones all around. Everything was covered with blood. I was praying to God he would survive.
Mykola did survive, but Danyo, his 4-year-old brother, was beside him at the time of the explosion. He was killed instantly. And while Mykola's life was spared, he endured horrific injuries. The grenade left him a triple amputee. Stumps are all that remain of both his legs and his right arm. Part of his skull is missing, and his body still contains shrapnel.
He said that there was shrapnel in his upper jaw. We don't see it.
The medical team isn't able to address Mykola's amputated limbs, but they can tackle the wounds to his face and the hole in his skull. For Alla, it's overwhelming to see her son finally getting the caliber of medical attention he so desperately needs. Less than a day later, and Mykola is in the operating room. Dr. Tara Tashima is part of the surgical team.
It's really sad, like what he's gone through. It's just tragic, and we're just doing what we can do, but there's so much more that needs to be done.
While treating the wounds on his face, they remove a large piece of shrapnel from his chin.
There's shrapnel. Do you want to do this one?
This one is about 1.5 centimeters long, but there's still plenty more in his body.
3, 2, 1, go.
With the surgery complete, the medical team moves Mykola out of the OR and into the post-anesthetic care unit for recovery.
I'll wash his face.
Maria Koboletsky is a nurse overseeing his post-op care.
When we told him the surgery was over, everything went well, he started to cry. And that's when I started tearing up.
But you know he's
You
gonna
held
get
it together,
better.
you have to, because they don't want to see the nurses crying. All right, here you go.
Just giving him that operation and doing that work that we did in Cave provided hope for the family. It gave them a sense that, okay, there are people who want to help, there are people who are willing to help, and we're not alone in this.
And miraculously, more help from Canada is on the horizon. It's early December 2015. 5 weeks since Canadian doctors operated on Mykola in Kiev. He and Alla are arriving in a new city and a new country. They're receiving a hero's welcome by Christina and members of Montreal's Ukrainian community.
I thought, we are going to this strange country, and we don't know anybody. We don't know the language. I couldn't imagine what it would be like.
For the next year, Mykola will receive treatment here at the Shriners Hospital for Children. He'll have at least 9 different medical specialists tending to his many injuries. More than 500 hours of care will be dedicated to his recovery. And the Shriners charity is covering all the medical expenses.
It looks now that good things will start happening for Mykola.
Wow.
Are you grateful to the doctors at Shriners and I guess the Ukrainian Canadian community here?
Я дуже вдячна, бо вони зробили багато для нас.
I'm very, very grateful. They have done so much for Mykola and I.
Я дуже щаслива.
I feel very lucky.
2 weeks later, mid-December 2015, and Mykola is once again back in an operating room. His surgeon is Dr. Reggie Hamdi, the chief of staff at Shriners.
So it's a relatively small surgery for today, but it will make the prosthetic fitting much easier.
The stump that remains of his left leg has 2 pieces of shrapnel right near the surface that need to be removed.
That's the second one.
Once that's done,
Let's change our gloves.
they move to his right leg. This time, they have to shorten his stump by about 3 centimeters.
A little bit more than 2.
The goal? To make what remains of this leg fit better into a prosthetic limb. The operation is a success, but Mykola won't know that for hours. Until then, it's back to his hospital room for plenty of rest. Even though Mykola has endured several surgeries in the past 4 months, the recovery is never easy. 2 days later, he's out of bed and spending some time in the hospital's activity room, but he still seems a little groggy.
I'm gonna give him some Tylenol on his way out.
Soon, it's time to leave the hospital, but he won't be gone for long.
These are all the follow-up appointments.
For the next 11 months, he'll be an outpatient, coming to the hospital for treatment and rehab several times a week. Weeks later, and finally the moment Mykola has been dreaming of. He's being fitted with prosthetic legs.
Hold on. Yes, very good.
His legs are still swollen from the most recent surgery, so the prosthetics are especially tight and difficult to get on and off right now.
1, 2, 3.
But Dr. Carlo Beretta assures him they will fit better once the swelling goes down.
Thank you very much.
You're very, very welcome. And I like to see you with a smile.
Stand up again.
Next stop, another vital milestone.
Good.
Mykola's first physiotherapy appointment with Rochelle Ryan.
When you first saw Mykola, what thoughts raced through your mind?
He was kind of curled into himself. Hard to express, but he was just very alone, I think. But then when we looked at him, we could see very clearly what we could do to help this child.
Rochelle has been a physiotherapist for more than 35 years. She's treated countless patients from all around the world, but never anyone quite like Mykola.
He is my only triple amputee.
This session is just the first of dozens and dozens they'll spend together. The focus today, simply standing and balancing, even though Mykola is clearly eager to get moving.
He was pretty anxious to walk. Today he was balancing on his own, even as I was pushing him around and making him unbalanced, and he was able to hold his own, so I was pretty encouraged.
As is Christina.
Had he remained in Ukraine, I guess the medical system there wouldn't have been able to help him too much.
The rehabilitation there would have been non-existent, the physiotherapy, the occupational therapy. To watch life being brought back into him has been an amazing journey, and I can't wait to continue watching it.
A relentless struggle.
You can't give up on him.
An unbreakable spirit.
Really good. Very, very good.
When W5 continues.
It's past 10 a.m. on an early spring morning in Montreal. And even though he slept in, 11-year-old Mykola Nizhnokovsky is having a hard time getting up and out of bed. Thankfully, his mom, Alla, is close by to help. Mornings are a challenge for Mykola. He's a triple amputee, missing much of both his legs and one arm. It takes the two of them to put on his prosthetic legs. It's late March 2016, and Mykola and Alla have been in Montreal for nearly 4 months, living in this condo provided by the Canadian-Ukrainian community. Several times a week they come here, the Shriners Hospital for Children.
All right, shall we get started?
Here Mykola receives extensive treatments, surgeries, and rehabilitation to address the wounds he suffered when a grenade detonated in front of his home in a small village in eastern Ukraine.
Good. Is it all done? Very nice.
Sarah Kachecho is Mykola's occupational therapist. Her task? Teach him how to best use both his prosthetic arm and his remaining left arm.
Mykola was right-handed, and he's left-handed now. How difficult is that for him?
He's going to have to learn to use his left hand with more dexterity. Can you take out the Play-Doh? We're not only practicing using the prosthesis, but we're also going to practice using that left hand for activities that he used to do with his right hand.
How's his progress been?
We're just starting to practice more functional activities. So we did some cutting with a fork and a knife. That's okay. It's the first time we do this. We're practicing. I think for the first time he did well. The more we practice, the more he does it at home, he's going to get better at it.
Soon, it's off to his next appointment.
So he's going to walk, not holding on to your mother.
This time with physiotherapist Rochelle Ryan.
Really good. Very, very good.
They've been working together for a month and a half, focusing on improving Mykola's balance and strength.
And you're going to do one step at a time. Step, stop.
At this point, Mykola's still pretty shaky on his feet, and he sometimes seems discouraged by the slow pace of progress.
Works. I think he probably believed that he'd put on those legs and be able to walk, and that's got to be difficult.
At times he looks frustrated and you know, he wants to do it on his own, but it's just too hard.
Yeah, he's not ready to do it on his own. And if he goes too fast, he's just going to pick up these bad walking habits. And we want him to get good walking habits that will use the minimum of energy and give him as much endurance in the future. Do you want to play a little soccer before you sit down?
Watching her son struggle is never easy for Alla, but she's convinced his perseverance will pay off.
What do you hope for your son in the next little while, in the next 2 to 3 months?
Mykola has set a personal goal to walk on his own in the near future. I believe he will attain his goal.
But that goal is still many months away. Thankfully, all their time in Montreal isn't spent at the hospital. Tonight is a special night out. Mykola and Alla are attending their first ever hockey game.
Thank you.
Sharing a corporate box with other patients from the Shriners Children's Hospital. Mykola finds the game itself a bit dull. He doesn't understand the rules, and he's really more of a soccer fan.
All right, you're too good.
But his enthusiasm peaks when he gets a chance to participate himself. Facing off in a game of tabletop hockey with injured Canadians forward Brendan Gallagher.
When you sit there and watch others play, it's a little bit boring. But when you play the game yourself, it's a lot more fun.
It's the kind of night Mykola could never have imagined. All thanks to Canadians determined to bring some joy into the life of this young Ukrainian boy.
You know, where he's from, it's a different sort of mentality. Everybody's just trying to survive.
Christina Waller is a director with the Canada-Ukraine Foundation, the organization which first treated Mykola in Kiev.
Every step of the way of this journey, kind people greet him and love him and extend a helping hand.
Almost done. 5 more.
No one has extended a helping hand more than the staff at Shriners Hospital.
Good.
Especially his physiotherapist, Rochelle.
Do you want to do the arms? Yeah. Okay.
It's autumn 2016, and after more than 100 grueling rehab sessions, all the work is clearly paying off. Mykola is getting bigger, stronger, and more determined than ever to master his prosthetics and walk again.
I'm slowly getting used to the prosthetics. They're very good.
We learned tremendous strength and resilience from people like Mykola and his mother. The commitment to go back to what they had despite all the challenges is an inspiration to me as a therapist, working with somebody like Mykola.
So what do you want him to do now, Rochelle?
But for all the progress they've made together, Mykola will always face challenges.
He wants to do it from standing. Right? That happens.
He knows that in reality he will fall.
Well, he's a kid. All kids fall.
Right. But having 2 prosthetic legs, he's going to fall a bit more often. And I think getting up again, both literally and figuratively, is something that's been our big message to Mykola, that every time something sets you back, you just get up and go for it again.
Good use of your prosthesis, Mykola. That's very good.
That same principle applies to Mykola's rehab work, alongside occupational therapist Sarah Kachecho.
Okay, let's see if we can break your record and do it faster.
They've spent nearly 50 hours together during the past 10 months, working on seemingly simple tasks like zipping up a hoodie or buttoning a shirt.
Yes, you did it.
What is Mykola capable of doing with his prosthetic arm now?
Mykola can now dress himself, feed himself, brush his teeth, do whatever activity someone has to do in their daily life. Okay. So what are we making today?
We're making sandwiches.
And that includes using cutlery to prepare meals so he can feed himself, something that was completely out of reach back in the winter.
Perfect. So much butter. I love butter.
By mid-November, nearly a year has passed since Mykola and Ella first arrived in Montreal.
This is like everything we've practiced in the hospital.
Today's physio session is taking place in a less clinical setting than usual, at a local park. It's time for Mykola to apply the lessons he's learned to real-life environments.
Whoa.
After all, his time in Canada is nearing an end.
I feel that the whole team here really worked together to give him a good start to go back and really be on his, put him on his feet again.
I will never in my life forget any of the medical staff. They're such a positive people. Their attitude is incredible.
Is there anything that you would like to say to the Canadian doctors and physiotherapists and everyone who's worked with you?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. They taught me how to walk, to run, to play football, to climb, to walk on stairs, everything.
He wants a normal life. He wants all the things that everybody wants in life. And the more he works every day, the more he believes he can have that in the future.
This confident, determined, playful young man is almost unrecognizable from who he was a little more than a year ago. It was October 2015 in a military hospital in Kiev when Christina first met Mykola, a small and scared, broken little boy, and one who faced a seemingly bleak future. But all that has changed. There's reason to smile and laugh again. Caring Canadians have had an enormous impact on his life, just as he's had on them.
What impact has Mykola had on your life?
He's taken over a part of me, that he'll always have. You meet this boy, you spend this time with him and his family, and you grow to love them. And it's like an extension of yourself almost. There's no way you can't give up on him.
But soon it will be time for Christina to say goodbye to that extension of herself. Within days, Alla and Mykola will be leaving Canada, heading home to Ukraine, prepared to resume the lives they've left behind.
I think he's ready to start trying to lead a normal life.
Will it be hard for you to see him go?
Yeah, it will. Of course it will. He wants to get back. He wants to be with his friends. He wants to start living life again.
You think he'll have a better tomorrow?
I do. I think he's touched many people. I think many people care about him to help him persevere.